Laura. And I'm Lana.
Okay, we're out here hiking to the Hieroglyphic Canyon, and it's up that way. There's a large group with us, or not with us, but ahead of us. Okay, we're stopping here, taking a look at Battleship's Point there. That white mark right there is where the Indians said that the watermark went to during the Great Flood. All of the Indians were, of course, on top of the mountain because the thunder gods told them to go there. And when they were told to leave the mountain when the flood receded, some of them refused to leave, and so the thunder gods got angry and turned them into pillars of stone. And you can see those on the ridges, those people on the ridges of the mountain there. Now we're going to swing around a little bit more to this hill right here. Right up there at the top is where the wreck of a T-39 was. There's not much left of it, a few small parts and pieces, but back in the 1970s my brother-in-law and I stopped to take the wingtips, and we spent the night rolling them down the hillside down to those cliffs right in there. And when we got down in there, we were making quite a big racket as they rolled down the hillside and bash on the rocks and stuff. So we got them down to the bottom and stopped for the night and decided to come back and get them later. And we went back home, and the next day in the newspaper there was an article about strange noises coming from the Superstition Mountains. Well, got to admit that was us. Where we're going to is right up through that canyon. You can see the people there from the other group. They're out walking us tremendously. We're going to go right up into that little valley where the outcropping of rocks is, and that's where we're going to be. As for my group, they're over here munching on cookies and swigging the water and fighting over the shade. But they're having a good time. We are at stop landmark 10. This is what you call making good use of whatever shade.
Go backwards.
We're getting closer. There's a rock up here, balanced rock. It's up on, if we can find it. Oh, there it is. There. Very balanced rock. And we're almost there. We're just going to go right over here, right down in there. Okay, this is the first glimpse of Hieroglyphic Canyon. You can see the hieroglyphics over on the far wall. Right now I'm standing on what's called the rock tanks. I'll swing around, take a look at them. These holes here that have been drilled in the rock to capture the water should provide water as far as long into the summer as they can get. And here's two of our hikers. They've survived it so far. Here's Laura. Yeah, she's surviving. Only one that's not surviving is me. My heart stopped about a half an hour ago. Okay. We'll take a reading here in a few minutes. Point upwards.
Well, I can see him just as plain as they.
Here we are.
How many years ago this was?
That's the springs right over there.
That's something that they did on
This is our second hike in because on the first trip the batteries went dead. And just about the time I got to the rock tank, so I got none of the items. This is new. These signs are new. We're going to hike this one later on, and we'll give coordinates to that. And of course, this canyon. We'll be going up that direction, and that's part of my group right there. This person right here is my brother. He hikes with me quite a bit. Okay, we haven't quite reached Hieroglyphic Canyon yet, but we did spot some carvings, rock carvings over on the far wall. Not too many people know about those. A lot of them are faded out, but you can see a few little animals there on the rocks. This is just before you get into Hieroglyphic Canyon. And that's Shannon, my brother. He's taking a photo of them too. Yep, these are the rock tanks that capture the water for the travelers to drink from. And they actually bored right into the rock. There's quite a few of them in here. And take a look out in the valley.
Sterling! Don't be climbing on those.
That's the valley out there where we come up from. When we get up here by the hieroglyphics, I'll take a GPS reading. Okay, we are here. Finally. This is Hieroglyphic Canyon. That's the last rock tank that the springs drip into. The springs actually come out from a cave right under there between those two boulders. That is actually Hieroglyphic Springs. The cave is big enough to hold maybe 10, 12 people. Let's swing around and look at some of the hieroglyphics, and then we'll walk over closer and see some of them. As you'll notice, that some of these hieroglyphics are big horned animals. Look like emus, and some of them look like mountain goats, and others are deer. I take it from this history in the rocks that there was once mountain goats here in this area. This is some of our kids up here.
Sandra!
They're with us.
Stay there.
Now we'll walk over and take a closer look at stuff. Okay. We were just discussing this petroglyphs here, and we believe that it's a prehistoric sign for that the water here is let's see, this water here is good for animals and drinking water and so forth. And and you can see that it's the spring symbol, the dot with the line coming out of it through the circle, is usually depicts water coming out of the earth. And there's a couple of animals that are drinking out of it. Here's a good example of how the petroglyphs are starting to disappear from people climbing over them and stuff like that. You can see where the people have put their hands down and so forth when they're climbing up through there. And it's starting to wear away the pictures. But here's a particularly interesting area that definitely looks like goats. So, as I was saying before, it does look like that they were hunting goats. There's somebody that's chasing one. And there's a few other animals. We'll have some more pictures of other types of animals here shortly. Okay. Here we have an example of another drawing of a snake that may have been found in this area. And then right over in here, more pictures of bighorn sheep and so forth. I believe this might be some kind of a symbol of seasons or times that they have been here or something. Over here a little more. There's some other symbols. We'll take a look at them when I get over closer to them. Okay, here's a significant set of glyphs. One, I believe, is to be of the Spaniards. Notice the helmet and so forth depicted there. And then the other one has no helmet. And I believe that they either have pictures of the battle between the Spaniards and the Indians, or they're talking about the noblemen and the peons that were in here that got massacred on the other side of the Superstitions here at the Spanish massacre grounds. There are other carvings in here. We'll go back over to this area here to take a look at some more of the ones that we couldn't see before. And this is exactly why they call it Hieroglyphic Canyon, because there's those symbols and so forth all over the place. Unfortunately, if you come in here, you have to be careful, because where you're walking or where you're tempted to walk, you may have hieroglyphics. And, you know, just by walking on them, you wear them out, and over the ages, you'll never be able to see them again. And I'll show you a good example of that later on. Okay, here's a good example of what modern mankind is doing for our hieroglyphics. They come in and write things on and scribble over the hieroglyphics and so forth like that. It's just a real crying shame. We're taking a look at some more hieroglyphics here. Each one of these murals or depiction, I believe, are talking about hunts that they had come in for, hunting and so forth. And that one right there is usually, you know, like thunder gods that they do it. And this one here is, I believe, a calendar of some sort, and they're depicting what season that they were in here on. Some of the other hieroglyphics in here. Then we start seeing more, they'll look like deer and so forth. Anyway, we're going to come up here to a mural, which is, I think, pretty interesting, that I think has to do with the massacre grounds and the Lost Etcheman's gold mine. This mural, you notice right, this animal right here, it has reins and big floppy ears and so forth. It's a good depiction of a mule and so forth. You see the same type of an animal right there. And that person right there at the feet of the animal is laying down, has no head. A depiction of something being dead. As you can see, they have the picture of a spring again coming down with two openings. Then up here, the interesting thing about this mural is the cave. It depicts a cave, but then the rocks all the way around it are showing that the cave has been sealed up. There's a marker there that looks like a stepladder. It looks like, you know, that it was talking about how deep the cave actually went. And this may be an indication that, you know, when the Apaches attacked the Spaniards back in 1847 at the massacre grounds, they wiped out the Spaniards, and then they cleaned up the massacre area, and then they took the bodies and stuff and went back and dumped them in the holes and filled up all of the mines, with the exception of one they thought was so well naturally hidden that they didn't bother with it, and that ended up being Lost Dutchman's gold mine. Here's some other interesting artifacts. There even looks like a date there, 1881. There's a symbol right there for a mine. Then another symbol for spring. More animals. This here is some kind of, looks like a centipede or something like that. I'm not quite sure what that is for. Another interesting animal right here is something that has a very long tail. Looks like a cat or a mountain lion. Probably somebody in here when they were on a hunt actually saw a mountain lion. Okay, this is the Hieroglyphic Springs cave. We're going to go take a look inside of it. Okay, that's what it looks like inside. Give you an idea of how big it is. Why don't you guys walk up in there, show how big it is. Okay, that's good enough. Thank you. Out of the cave. Yeah.
Where was that? That Fish Creek?
The praying on it? I'm not sure where that's at. And then we'll look then down out the valley here. We've got to head back down there. Down in that area somewhere. Where our car is. So we're leaving now. But this is Hieroglyphic Canyon, and this is what the valley looks like out below us. We'll take one last look at the hieroglyphics as we leave. There is another interesting thing to point out here at Hieroglyphic Canyon, and that is the balancing rock up there. I panned to it so that you would be able to tell about where it was at in relation to the cave when you get here. But that's amazing that that rock is standing there like that. Okay, one last look at these sets. Down here, looking at the calendar and so forth. More animals, more murals. One last look at the Spaniards. We'll back out. Let's look at this mural over here. Backing out. Okay, one last look at everything before we disappear. Cave. The area where most of the hieroglyphics are at. And the entry mural that you see whenever you come over the mountain and see them. I love this place. Please, if you visit this place, take care of the hieroglyphics and be responsible. Don't leave your trash behind, and don't deface the markings. And please be careful where you step, because that's all we have for the future.